On October 17th, 2024, deputies with the Escambia County Sheriff's Office received a call from the Gulf Coast Kids House, a child advocacy center, about a 2-month-old baby who had suffered, quote, serious injuries after being dropped on the kitchen floor by a 10-year-old. That call led to the arrest of 37-year-old Tara Alexis Sykes in what quickly became known as the Roblox case. Now, if you want the full breakdown of what happened in 2024, including the original allegations and the disturbing details investigators released, go back and listen to the previous episode that I did on this case. That link is in the show notes below. This is an update on that case. But before we get into that update, surprise and welcome, lambs. Welcome to Love and Murder, Heartbreak to Homicide, your true crime podcast that tells you cases of relationships that turn to murder. And when we say relationships, we don't only mean like partners. We mean parents and children, friendships, relationships on a whole. So in today's case, I'm going to give you the update of the Tara Alexis Sykes case. Oh my God, is it an update? If you haven't listened to the original episode yet, or even if you forgot it, like I said, the link to the original episode is in the show notes below. So go ahead, pause here, listen to that episode, and come back for this update. Because the reason why I say listen to that episode first is once you listen to that episode and hear what happened, come back for the update, and you are going to be livid. So pause here. Go listen to that original episode and then come back. Also, what I want you to do is go ahead and subscribe to this podcast on whatever platform you're listening on so you don't miss another episode, another update, or anything like that. You could also subscribe on to Patreon. You get the same benefits, not missing an episode. Plus, you get some bonuses if you're a free subscriber or a paid subscriber. Patreon.com/Love and Murder. So without making the intro too long, let's get back into this update episode. Initially, Tara was facing extremely serious charges. Court records show that she had been charged with 2 counts of principal to attempted first-degree premeditated murder, 1 count of solicitation for first-degree premeditated murder, and 1 count of cruelty towards a child without great bodily harm. There was also a child cruelty charge. Those charges carried the possibility of multiple life sentences. Then, on January 22nd, 2026, everything changed. During a hearing in Pensacola, Tara pleaded no contest to 1 count of child neglect without great bodily harm. In exchange for that plea, prosecutors dropped 2 counts of principal to first-degree murder, 1 count of solicitation of first-degree murder, and 1 count of cruelty towards a child without great bodily harm. Court records also showed that 3 homicide charges, principal to attempted first-degree premeditated murder and solicitation of first-degree premeditated murder, which were 2 counts, were dropped along with the child cruelty charge. So basically, you got it. Everything was basically dropped, almost everything was dropped. First Judicial Circuit Judge Amy P. Broderson sentenced Tara to... I need a drum roll here because y'all got to sit down if you're standing up because this might make you lightheaded. I'm serious. If you listen to the first episode, you're going to understand the rage of this. So if you're standing, sit down. If you're driving, pull over. She was sentenced to 11 months and 30 days in a state correctional facility. But that's not it. That's not it. This is why I told you, stop what you're doing. It's going to get even worse. She was credited with 462 days of time already served. That means the entirety of her sentence had already been completed. In other words, she will spend less than a year behind bars for a case that originally involved attempted murder allegations tied to a 2-month-old infant. Do you see why I told you to pull over or sit down and stop everything you're doing? Tara will remain in jail, though, which I guess that's the good news, without bond for now because she still faces another child neglect case later this year. I mean, that's if they don't give her a plea deal for this one, too. That case didn't start with the Roblox case. That case happened back in May 28, 2024, months before the Roblox allegations, so she was freaking escalated, and they just gave her like, oh no, don't do that again, bad girl. Deputies had responded to Tara's home at the request of a Department of Children and Families investigators. They were investigating a 14-year-old girl who was 31 weeks pregnant and appeared to be suffering from malnutrition. According to a probable cause affidavit, Tara and her husband both admitted that they knew this 14-year-old had been impregnated by their 20-year-old acquaintance, and they failed to report the known sexual battery against this girl. So there is more to this case, and you can hear it by clicking the link in the show notes below, which I hope you've listened to that case already, and then you came back to this. But if you didn't, then click on that link in the show notes below so you can hear more on these charges, this issue. So that's what she's still in jail for now. In that case, Tara and her husband were both charged with one count of child neglect with endangerment for allegedly allowing the 20-year-old man to live in their home despite knowing he had impregnated that 14-year-old girl. The 20-year-old, later identified as Kyle Myers, was never charged for impregnating the juvenile. He did plead no contest, apparently their favorite plea in this case, to one count of sending a threat to kill or injure and was sentenced to 20 months in prison. Now, in the Roblox case specifically, the plea deal means Tara is no longer facing attempted murder or solicitation of murder charges. Instead, her conviction stands on a single count of child neglect with great bodily harm. She's currently scheduled to appear in court again on April 8th in connection with the separate child neglect case. So, as of now, that's where this case stands. Since it's still going on, I have to say that everything said here is alleged because it's still going on and I don't want to be sued. Charges that once carried the possibility of life in prison have been reduced to less than a year served, with time already credited. If you listen to the original episode, you know how disturbing the allegations were, and now the legal outcome looks very different from where this started. What are your thoughts on this update? Let me know in the comments below. Honestly, my mind is freaking blown. How about you? Let me know in the comments below. You can also join the Patreon for free, patreon.com/loveandmurder, where you can also comment on this episode. And even though I am sickened and angry and annoyed by this case, I still do have to plug the Patreon because this is how the show is able to move forward and stay listener funded. So if you do want to be a part of the Patreon, a part of the Lamb Fam, get bonus episodes and help keep this show listener funded so I can cuss people out like this Tara Sykes woman, allegedly, because now I can't say anything that I want to say because they have reduced her charges to no contest after she terrorized this 10-year-old and told this 10-year-old basically how to murder people, including an infant. And they allowed her a plea deal, which I don't understand the plea deal. If you're saying it's so that the 10-year-old doesn't have to relive this, you could have done it where the 10-year-old wouldn't have to relive this. You could have done it where the jury sees like video of you initially talking to the 10-year-old. There were so many witnesses who witnessed what was going on inside the Roblox. There's so many different ways you could have gone about this. So I call absolute bullshit on a plea deal. There was no reason for a plea deal. Bullshit. But anyways, in order for me to be able to continue speaking my mind and calling bullshit where bullshit is due, you help keep this podcast listener funded by becoming part of the Lamb Fam, because if I do go sponsor then they might, I'm not saying every single one of them, they might, try and say, hey, you got to kind of scale it back and just tell the facts. And, oh, you can't call this person like Tara Sykes bullshit, like, because she is bullshit. But you can't do that. So if you want to help keep this show listener funded and help be a voice of the victim, head on over to the Patreon, patreon.com/Love and Murder. You could choose any of the bonus tiers starting at $3 a month or above, where you do get many, many bonuses for being part of the Lamb Fam. Patreon.com/Love and Murder. I know my plug turned into a whole rant, but this case and this update has pissed me royally the frick off. Anyways, that's all I have for you today. I'm going to, do something where I don't have to think about this case. And I'll see you in the next case. Bye.